Can you believe it? We are at the final film of Phase 3 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is Spider-Man: Far From Home. So this was one of the movies on the list that I did see in theaters because I had seen Homecoming. I went to see this one as well when it came out, but I have to say that, like, I guess you could watch it without full context, but for me, like, when I saw it in the theater, I really didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know what the blip was. I didn't know that Iron Man had died. I didn't witness any of that. I didn't really know anything much besides what's in Homecoming about his relationship with Peter. I didn't really fully understand the Skrull thing because if you go back to the previous videos, I had seen Captain Marvel, but I just didn't really follow it. So anyway, the point is, with the full context, this almost felt like a new movie. I think the first thing that comes to mind to talk about is just how great I think Tom Holland is. And I probably have talked about this before already in one of my previous videos, but I think in this movie especially, he's just such a good Peter Parker. Like, I feel like he was born to play Peter Parker, Spider-Man. I don't know why. It's just something about him, like, is so obviously likable, but also, like, in this movie especially, it's really intense. Like, and I write on one of the pages, like, it has all the things that I love about these superhero movies, which is, like, dealing with trauma and grief and purpose and responsibilities and sacrifice. And that's, like, the stuff that I'm really drawn to in these movies. And this has a lot of that, while at the same time being really light and funny and goofy. And I think that Tom is so good at being that, like, silly, you know, kind of how Spider-Man is more, like, lighthearted usually, but he at the same time is able to portray so many complex emotions, which I really love. And I just think he's great. I just can't wait to see No Way Home, which is the next Spider-Man movie that comes out at the end of this year. I already just can't wait to see it. I just can't wait to see him again. I can't wait to see Zendaya and Jacob Batalon as Ned. Like, I just love them all so much after seeing everything, but then especially this movie. So yeah, Tom Holland is great. And now having the full context of his relationship with Tony, of what happened in Infinity War and what happened in Endgame and all of that, like, this movie had such a new weight to it. And especially, like, the scene in the is it a Quinjet or is it just a plane? Pardon me. I know Quinjet is a plane, but it might not be this plane. But anyway, the scene in the plane with Happy where he's, like, talking about how, you know, Tony believes in him and he felt like he let him down because of the Edith glasses and everything, and just the way that him and Happy have that conversation of, like, this mutual loss that they've both had so recently. Like, that didn't hit for me at all the first time, and this time I was, like, crying. Like, it was so beautiful. So anyway, Tom Holland is great. That's the point of that. I also just love Zendaya, and I just think she's such a great actress. I think she's so fun in this role, and I think her portrayal of MJ, I love that whole part where she's like, "You're Spider-Man." Like, yeah, I know. But then when he's like, I'm Spider-Man, she's like, "Wait, really?" That was just, like, I could watch that over and over again. That was so good. And I love Ned. Ned as, like, you know, the guy in the chair from Homecoming. But he's just, like, he always has Peter's back, and, like, I love that role of, like, the best friend, you know, and I just think Ned is perfect in that part. And I love the actor Jacob who plays him too. I loved all of the friends and all of the school scenes with that, like, how it opens with that news bulletin that's like so goofy and like it's like trying to be serious, but it's just not. Like that was so good with the Whitney Houston song and everything, and all the like the pictures of candles, but it says like Getty Images because they obviously just like saved it from Google. It's just such a good touch. I really like this director, like the things that he did in that way. And then also just a lot of the shots. Like I put that shot of Peter in the tulip field when Happy comes to pick him up. Just a lot of really gorgeous shots. Obviously, all the international travel in this movie was so beautiful. Everything from Venice to Berlin and all these locations. I don't even know if they were really in those locations, you know, because Marvel can kind of go wherever and they don't even have to go with their technology. But that was all so beautiful. Oh, and then also, so Mysterio, I just totally forgot to print a picture of him. But I think that Jake Gyllenhaal was totally perfect for that part as like this smarmy, like guy that wants to be a kind of a villain because he wants to like, or no, he doesn't want to be a villain though. He wants to be a superhero. So he's like creating his own villains and it just like does not work. And like, but the tech that they have access to is so incredible and so incredibly advanced. But I thought that that Jake Gyllenhaal was like so perfect in that part. Really creepy and like, and I think I knew about the twist going into it this time that he was a bad guy because I just remembered it from seeing it the first time. But I do think it really surprised me when I saw it. That whole scene where Peter gives him the glasses, like, oh, when you watch that now, knowing that he's a bad guy, it's like, oh, it's so brutal. But yeah, what else was I gonna say? So yeah, I think that he was such a good villain. Those action scenes, a couple of them with the elementals, I might have kind of glazed over, but it's really well done. And on another thing that I like totally didn't really catch on with the first time was like the Skrull stuff. But now that I like fully know who Talos is, that was really cool. I love that bit at the end where he's like, I gave him the glasses and you know, it was really, it was quite touching. It's just, Ben Mendelsohn is just, he's so good. And I loved that. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with that. And that's kind of like nerve wracking, but I think it probably also ties in with that post-credit scene from the end of WandaVision with Monica. And yeah, so I'm just kind of trying to like keep track of everything, but I loved the teachers, JB Smoove and Martin Starr. They were both so funny. And I just loved having that like constant funny bit of like these adults trying to be responsible for these kids while they're overseas, and all these crazy things and twists keep being thrown their way, mostly by by Nick Fury through the Skrull. But you know what I mean. So yeah, that was really cool. Night Monkey made me laugh so hard. I don't know, it's just so stupid, but I loved it. And the whole thing with Brad, like, Brad sucks. And it was Brad, right? That's such a typical, like, douchey high schooler name, but it just worked perfectly. And I feel like when Tony gave the glasses to Peter or left them behind for Peter, it was like partially because he knew that that's who he wanted to have them and to pass that to. But also I feel like it's kind of Tony like trolling Peter from the grave, because it's like he knew that it would be helpful to Peter, but he probably also knew that he would like accidentally call a drone strike on one of his classmates. So I don't know. I just felt Tony's humor in there. But yeah, a really good movie on the rewatch. I highly recommend it. So here's the full flip through. You can pause if you want to read my thoughts a little bit more. I love that image of Peter in front of the Iron Man mural. And then this is the collage art that I did. I found this picture of them. I think it might be just from like a behind the scenes moment. Like, I don't know if that's actually in the movie exactly, but I used that quote, "Why else would I be watching you?" which I thought was really sweet. I just love them. They're really adorable. And so yeah, the next page is the Phase 3 reflections. You can pause to read. I did a little ranking of like the Phase 3 movies in the order of like how I liked them, but there were good and bad to all of them, and you can hear all my thoughts on that. Basically, it was just such a crazy ride. Oh, I found some behind the scenes pictures that I'm obsessed with, and I put them on that page. But yeah, and then looking ahead, there's that's the whole lineup of movies to come, which is just wild. And then obviously the TV shows, which will be the next thing that we get to in this book, and we are very close to finished. Stay tuned for a full phase 3 flip through video, and thanks for watching.